before it goes to sleep. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so it looks like right at 13 here. As long as I'm right here on the 12th block, it's active, but as soon as I step off, it goes to sleep. So it looks like it's right about 13 blocks. From what I've gathered so far, that's not too bad away. I mean, 13 blocks is pretty good. Give you a chance to fortify a room or something with it. So proper usage of this would be to, have it out, get ready to go, whatever, and you walk into a POI, you get ready to check it out. It's like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and just place it right there, let it defend me while I'm looting this room up here. That way you can kind of loot in, freedom of not worrying about something coming up on you. Even if this thing decides to not kill anything, even if it decides to not kill anything, if it just starts shooting and there's too many there, you can hear it going off. And so that's one of the big pluses, is it's an alarm system if nothing else. Then you're done clearing this room, decide, okay, well, I'll come over here and check this room out, and go ahead and I'll just put you right there, cover you just a little bit while I'm looking over here, and anything happens to wander into this particular room, which there's a Cowboy Bob in there. He decides to step out while you're in the process of looting, whatever, then he'll get hit with the turret. Now, of course, if they just walk through it, it doesn't spin all the way around. It's only directional of about, let's see, it goes to it from about that direction. Let's see how far it goes over, because I'm curious too, as like the radius which this thing travels. So, we'll sit out here. We'll kind of look at it as a straight line. Okay, so from 180 degrees, being a right straight line all the way to the right, looks like it's about 45 degrees that way until 45 degrees that way. Okay, so it looks like it covers about a full 90-degree arc here, so it's not going to get the full sides here, so you definitely don't want to try and use this to cover your back if you're going to be in a large room, because it's only going to go to cover. Putting it into the entranceway would be a good way, a kind of a choke point like this. That way, if they come through, they have to kind of funnel right into the middle of it. All right, so we got a couple in here. Let her stumble over here and see if it can do enough damage. Okay, so we got one going into rage mode here. It ran right past it. But that's not too bad of an idea to use it that way anyway, though. Just because you got one zombie coming down here, it'll soften them up a little bit so you can do the stabby bits if they do manage to make it past it. And again, you can just pick it up and take off running again. The jump turret is something that I've had a whole lot of fun with. It's absolutely wonderful. And the fact that you can find them laying around is just absolutely fantastic. As I said, it's great. I have a good time with it. I think that's one of the coolest things they added to the game is the jump turret. Now, here's something else to keep in mind is, I'm going to place you down right there so while I'm showing you. You can add mods to this bad boy, and there's quite a few that you can add. You can add cosmetics like the dyes, which only do cosmetic to it, but there's a bunch of different mods. I don't have them all in here right now, but you can add a ton of mods to it. But something else that you can keep in mind is the quality of the turret, and not specifically based just on the level, but the quality of the turret will give it different amounts of ammo. It's magazine size. So you can see this level 4 I have here, it's got a magazine size of 52, but this level 1, it's got a magazine size of level 56. So that's one of those, the way they've changed up the quality is, the level of it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be the absolute best one that you have there. Of course, crafting a higher setting one versus finding one. Like I gave myself this through the creative menu, so it didn't do as nearly as good as crafting. They've really tried to emphasize making things versus just giving yourself that. So if you craft a high level junk turret, then you could possibly go ahead and get a much better stats than the ones that I have here. Alright guys, well that is the ins and out of the junk turret. If you have any questions, of course leave them in the comment section down below and I'll see if I can answer them for you. If you enjoyed the video or found it useful, maybe consider leaving a like on the video. And if you're new here and you want to, maybe consider subscribing and hitting the little bell icon so you get notified when new videos go live. Thank you guys so much for your support. You guys have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you later.
Every so often, players come across a discovery in a video game that clearly no one was ever meant to find, even at times creating an enormously embarrassing situation for the developer in the aftermath of the discovery. This is why today we're diving into the top 10 craziest discoveries in video games that no player was ever intended to find. Part 3. Brought to you by Dashlane. Atlas. Earlier this year, Studio Wildcard launched their massive multiplayer game Atlas, their hugely hyped second game following their highly popular prehistoric adventure Ark Survival Evolved. Wildcard boasted Atlas as the next big step for the studio, touting epic sea warfare and rigorous first-person combat against gargantuan enemies in a vast environment that could hold 40,000 players at once. And this is what they actually got.
What the is going on?
About an hour to do.
What the
It's pretty rough, dude.
Atlas was so not what players were promised that the community joked that for Atlas, Studio Wildcard must have just reskinned and copy and pasted over their original game Ark Survival Evolved, which hit a little too close to home when streamer Mucka noticed that there was an invisible fourth option hovering at the bottom of Atlas's pause menu, which when selected revealed the settings menu for the original Ark Survival Evolved.
And you're in an Ark menu. Hello? We're playing Ark Survival Evolved.
This discovery quickly imploded the Atlas player community, who felt promised a fully fledged next level experience from Studio Wildcard and were instead given a quick mod of an already 3-year-old game.
What's going on? How do you like this game so far?
However, Wildcard really began to live up to its name weeks later when a number of strange discoveries began to show up all across the game's environment. Beginning when Twitch streamer Burke Black was suddenly bombarded by 8 killer whales at the same time.
What the
Whoa!
There's whales everywhere! Spawned whales!
Which quickly became much more disconcerting when a random World War II plane came crashing out of the sky,
The hell was that?
leaving Burke Black in total silence.
Oh, where? Jeez.
Meanwhile, Atlas's subreddit suddenly flooded with players finding World War II vehicles all across the game world, with many strange AI behaviors that outright confused players. In response, Studio Wildcard claimed the World War II vehicles were not the result of a hack or a game mod as players suspected, and were instead the result of somebody getting into one of the game's administrative accounts and spawning the ready-made game assets in. Because of course there would be ready-made World War II vehicles in a game about being a pirate. All I'm saying is don't be surprised if a Studio Wildcard World War II game comes out next year and we find out it has another hidden Ark menu inside of it.
We're playing Ark Survival Evolved.
Super Smash Bros. Brawl. A purple dragon came to me with a discovery on my Discord server explaining that they wanted to memorize all the costumes of each character in Smash Bros. Brawl, and decided that an easy way to do so would be to go through all the files of all the characters in the game, when they noticed something that struck them as odd on Princess Peach's model. Apparently one of the textures for Peach's golf club in the files is actually a pixelated AR-15. Of course, I had to check this out for myself. I downloaded Peach's model file from Smash off of the model's resource, and sure enough, there it was right in front of my face under the file Fly Peach K5 Golf S. Well, I guess it's true what they say. Don't mess with the princess unless you want to get pressed to the chest with an AR-15. Not sure why Peach ever needed Mario's help if she was packing that kind of heat this whole time. Halo 2. Thanks to my friend and YouTuber GameCheap13 for sharing this discovery with me on my Discord server. GameCheap13 found that by modding Halo 2's data, he could reinstate a cut sprint ability that was originally supposed to be in the game, a feature that didn't actually appear in the series until 4 games later. While giving the cut sprint ability a go with every weapon in the game, he came across something never meant to be found when he used the cut ability with 2 dual-wielded SMGs. Nice. While the discovery was likely intended as a joke amongst Bungie, the whole thing shows once again that Bungie has always been on the cutting edge, as sprinting didn't become a staple in first-person shooters until way after Halo 2's release. And the ability to give the bird during gameplay is essentially the precursor to the Fortnite emote. True genius when you think about it that way. Oculus. In April of this year, Facebook's head of VR product development issued an apology on Twitter after being brought to the attention of several disturbing hidden messages that were printed on the innards of tens of thousands of Oculus controllers that actually made their way into retail. Messages included, "This space for rent," "The Masons were here," and "Big Brother is watching," a reference to George Orwell's dystopian over-surveillance novel 1984, as well as a rather bold reference to Facebook's own controversial practices concerning the handling of its users' data.
Would you be comfortable sharing with us the name of the hotel you stayed in last night?
Although Mitchell claims the joke occurred somewhere in the assembly as a process error, it's definitely not reassuring to know that Facebook is being so callous about poking fun at the expense of its users' privacy. Well, it gives me enough reason to go ahead and delete Facebook. Final Fantasy 15. While I previously discussed Final Fantasy 15 players finding a way to glance at some unintended fan service, data miners were also in for a surprise when they went through all the character models in the game and found two mysterious, highly detailed new models that couldn't be found anywhere else in the game. The first one belonged to Gontiana, which if I had to guess is only here as the result of some really lonely late nights in the developer office. However, things take a shift when we look at the second highly detailed nude model, which belongs to the random, much more mature non-player character, Camellia Claustrum. I know you probably won't want to see that, sorry. Why of all the Final Fantasy 15 characters in the game was Camellia one of two characters found in this fully detailed nude state? Left the Final Fantasy 15 community questioning what the model's purposes even were. Perhaps even suggesting an Easter egg that's never been found to this day. Unfortunately, I don't think that's an Easter egg anyone's super eager to find. Shin Megami Tensei. Thanks to Casey the Sage for also sharing this very odd discovery with me on my Discord server. Shin Megami Tensei is the extensive 3-decade-old international RPG franchise, more popularly known for its Persona sub-series. This find takes us all the way back to the very first game on the Super Nintendo, where data miners found in the game files these especially disturbing sprites of Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck that don't appear anywhere else in the game. Fortunately, it's pretty easy to piece together this time why these horrifying versions of Mickey and Donald are here and why they were removed. Exclusive to the PC Engine build of the game, players can enter Tokyo Destiny, an obvious parody of Tokyo Disney World, and come across two enemies only on the PC Engine version, which are clearly much more ambiguous designs than the original blood-curdling Mickey and Donald. Considering no one's had more influence over copyright law than Disney in the last 100 years strictly over the copyright protection of the mouse alone, it's pretty clear why the developers didn't want anyone to find these disturbing designs. But Mickey's copyright is due up in 5 years, so unless Disney manages to somehow intervene again with the copyright law, looks like Atlas will finally have the chance to make their own twisted version of Kingdom Hearts here soon. Fallout 76. Previously, I discussed how players found access to the developer room in Fallout 76 and received insta-bans that sparked a backlash in the 76 community. Not like it was the first. Well, shortly after, a few months ago, Redditor Mistaken found access in the still unreleased, clearly unfinished Vault 96, which he said he managed to fall in as a complete accident. Right. Assumedly as an attempt to protect himself against Bethesda's heavy-handed banhammer. Inside, he found an environment with some things clearly never meant to be found, with terminals featuring unused developer text including flavor text to be written. And nice work, assholes. Damn, is this how Bethesda communicates to each other? No wonder 76 is such a mess. Homefront, The Revolution. In 2016's Homefront, The Revolution, in the restricted zone area of the game, players found an arcade cabinet at the top of the map that featured 2 levels from the original Time Splitters 2. While players thought this was a pretty nifty Easter egg, data miners uncovered a much more unusual mystery regarding the inclusion of the 2 levels, as they were able to find the entirety of Time Splitters 2 in the data of Homefront Revolution with every single asset of the game completely remastered from the ground up, all just sitting right there unused on the disc of Homefront. No HD remaster announcement of Time Splitters has ever surfaced to this day, and curiously similar remastered files could be found in Homefront relating to the game's Future Perfect and Second Sight. Ironically, in 2018, Homefront publisher Deep Silver announced they had acquired the rights to the Time Splitters series. So we know if they announce another Time Splitters HD remaster, we might just have another Atlas situation all over again. The Walking Dead. On day 1 of Season 2, Episode 5's launch, the Walking Dead player community was shocked and confused when PS3 owners had discovered a third option during the scene that couldn't be executed on any other platform, in which Clementine could shoot Mike. Wow, that looked great. Why this hidden execution was an exclusive feature to the PS3 was a mystery until the next day, as the discovery was immediately patched out of the game by the developer, implying that the sequence was never meant to be found in the first place. Although why exactly the scene was removed was never given an official answer. A simple explanation would be that they decided that killing off Mike was a bad idea at the last minute. Maybe they just thought it looked dumb as hell. I'd believe it. Shadow of the Tomb Raider. 1 week after the release of Lara Croft's latest adventure, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, a user by the name of Tombstone posted a mystery on the official Tomb Raider forums asking, "Nobody's brought up the letter Lara gets from Natla yet? Would Natla be the villain in the next games, maybe?" Given that Natla was the villain in the first Tomb Raider and hadn't had a reference or appearance in a Lara Croft game in a decade, nobody had any clue what the hell Tombstone was talking about, and proceeded to lambaste him as a troll for several hours. Finally, after hours of endless roasting, Tombstone re-emerged with a new video and a new post stating, "I had to replay the whole damn game again, so I hope you cows call me a troll and a liar eat some humble crow pie." In the link Tombstone provided, they watched an alternate post-credit sequence where indeed a swift moment in the scene revealed Lara receiving a letter from Natla. Still not convinced, many players still believe that the footage was fake, or modded in some way, as there was no way nobody else had found such a discovery up until this point. It wasn't until developer Eidos Montreal came forward with a statement did those dubious change their tone. Turned out the ending was never meant to be found at all, as it was actually patched out of the game with the game's day one patch. And it turns out Tombstone only found the ending himself because of problems regarding his internet. The official explanation left the community legitimately confused by the last-minute omission of the sequence, as well as legitimately embarrassed by their own treatment of Tombstone after discovery turned out to be true after all. While Natla's future in the Tomb Raider series at this point isn't looking particularly hot, Tombstone's fate in the Tomb Raider forums was met with apology and appreciation, as excavating Shadow of the Tomb Raider's most elusive ending is definitely a discovery that would have made Lara proud, even though he only found it because his internet just as none of these developers ever wanted any of these discoveries to be found. Don't forget that some pretty strange stuff went down in Atlas, like a whale plummeting out of the sky and crushing a random streamer's ship, all because somebody managed to get into one of the accounts over at Studio Wildcard. So far it's made for an incredibly awkward situation for the studio, which may be why you want to save yourself from the same embarrassment with the extra level of security that Dashlane provides.
Hello there, guys. Welcome to Survivor Russia. Welcome back. Our video out there showing you the finds and how we pick them up and all that good stuff. Or maybe something else. Who knows? Alright guys, so we are landed and we are here for a few things, picking up our stuff of course. Then we want to pick up our bottles there. And by our stuff I of course mean the metal that we left behind last time. And to make a little recon on a quite interesting spot. As you might have found out, we started a little fire. Of course we gotta eat some food, drink some tea, eat some food. Gators over there, old timers over there. Survivor Russia is here. Wait. Well, I think I'll strap on the head cam and yeah, then we can spend the day together here. See what's gonna happen, see how interesting it is. And speaking about how interesting it is and blah blah blah. I think I will start and use the community section of what we can call it a bit more. So keep an eye out for that. Yeah, it could be awesome between uploads and so on. A few announcements and stuff like that there. But yeah, let's get on with it. Let's get something to eat and pick up some stuff. Look, onion, it means onion. And many of you guys have requested me making subtitles for the Russian we're speaking in between us sometimes, and some of you Russian viewers, or the Russian viewers, have requested me to make subtitles in Russian, but subtitles takes forever to make. It is really difficult, so I'll try and be a little bit faster on or better to translate what we're saying in Russian when we're speaking Russian, making English and Russian subtitles. It's gonna take forever. I'm not gonna be able to upload anything. But this is our modest breakfast. Наше скромное завтрак или обед. Я не знаю, что это. Завтрак или обед. Breakfast or lunch. So we're on the way out to check up on the finds and do a little recon. There's our first finds. Railroad rail, 18, 18 weather, 18 kilograms a meter. So now that we have the detectors with us, just gonna do a little searching. We're not out of the recon area yet, but it seems like I found something substantial here. Because over there I found an axle from a bulldozer, and then I found a ball bearing, and then I said, I just wanna go on the, a little look-see here on the area, and I actually found some pretty awesome signals. And this is one of them. Let's see what it is. It's quite big and massive. Dang it, this is a big guy. It's gonna be interesting to see what that is. So it was a cluster of tracks. Samodelka. Had a little bit of a problem. 5 tracks, that's not too bad. Get tracków, неплохо. So time to get out, collect some finds out there to begin with. We have some stuff. Then back here, and there, and there, and there, and there, and there, and there. This is most likely the smallest piles. We have 2 piles. But we have some heavy stuff at least. One of them being this bulldozer. Here we have our tracks with clay and a metal detector. That's what it looks like now. Now it's 2 pieces of rail. Also a good start. Now we have to pick up something over there. That's where we found the end. We have to pull something out of the ground there. Then we have another pile here. I might be shouting, screaming a little bit because of the ears here. Here was another little pile of stuff. Not bad. Okay, so we have a minor medium crisis here. We almost lost the track because of the deep grass here. The grass, the vegetation, it bites too hard into the tracks. You can see tracks are on the wrong side of the sprocket. So we have to release the tension on the back, remove a pin and so on here, and get it back on. So let's do that. Now the old timer is loosening up the tracks a little bit. And you see the tracks are riding on this guy there and on that guy. What так? Sure, Misha. Now we're gonna remove a pin. Like this one, we can get them back on track. Here we have a pin. I have grinding thinner. You just use a pin for this, and it's not so good. It's gonna be easy to pull it out again. So that was the half of the work. Half of the work. Nice. Look. Kör over. We just need our little guys here. Little guy, back on now. There we go. Don't do anything. Good duck. Sure. Alright, so we got it out of the swamp there. Of course, has to happen in a swamp. So yeah, we basically just have to tension up the tracks and move on with the project. So here we found. I'll get the here. So here we found a really big frame. It goes all the way in there. It's a big guy. We'll try and pull it out. I cannot give the old timer the camera. He will just say, I don't understand this. I know that. We'll see what it is. Another bear crab I just stepped in. It's not really understandable what it is. There's more of it in here. That must be another day. The old timer there, he thinks it's been a transformer or something. Transformator here. Who the hell knows? Here we also have a little pile. Not so big, but it's heavy stuff, most of it. Here we have a funky thing. Looks like it from a seeding machine or something. Looks like it. It's one of the more serious finds. Ooh. Oh, спасибо. It's a little bit heavy. Вот так. Сейчас.
You're welcome.
Да. Еще. Есть. He's the smallest. We have to be in the cabin. Heavy guy. All right. Alright guys, we're back at camp. Tracks are on the vehicle still and so on. I think we're gonna have some lunch, some tea, and then we're gonna go home. Because it's already heavy. I don't know how much is there. It's already heavy. Not too heavy, but pretty heavy. Too heavy for logging around and picking up more small batches. I have the brilliant idea actually. Next time we go here, we will bring the SRV. And how we're gonna do that? We're gonna drive the SRV as far as it can, and then we're just gonna pull it through the swamps with this guy. And we're gonna use it here for collecting stuff with. I think that's gonna be awesome. 4 o'clock, lunch, dinner, whatever we wanna call it. Alright guys, so now it's a little bit later. Yeah, 6 o'clock actually. We've been eating and searching for the old-timers metal detector. He left it out in the bush and didn't remember where it was, but I found it. Anyway, we've been cleaning out a lot of grass, as you can see.
Time is money, friend.
A lot, which have most likely been a helping factor in losing the track, because it was completely compacted in there. Especially up here, blah 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 blah. Now I will sign off, unless something interesting happens on the way. Yeah, I'll get back to you of course. But just we drive home. It's gonna take quite a few hours. And here we have a full wagon again and tra-la-la-la-la. So guys, please check the links in the description. Please consider supporting the channel and the vehicle project and all that good stuff. And until next time, get out and train, get it done, do something awesome. See you in the next video, guys. Thank you for your time. I hope you liked the upload here.
Keep it real.
Hello there, guys.
Hey. You have a great day now.
Unless you're an astronomer, you probably don't think of stars as moving all that quickly. You might not even know that they move at all. If that's the case, you'd be surprised to learn that a star called S5HVS1 is zipping through our galaxy at over 10,000 miles per hour. All right, buddy, what's your hurry? License and registration. Ow, you're awfully bright. As with many of the best discoveries, astronomers found this rogue star entirely by accident. Researchers were conducting a survey of what they called stellar streams, remnants of smaller galaxies, torn apart and absorbed into the much larger Milky Way. An astronomer by the name of Sergei Kopasov was going through some of the survey data when he came across some unusual readings. He was looking for stars with unusually rapid orbits, but was surprised to find one fleeing the galaxy at record speeds. Now, it's hard to tell by looking at them, but stars are in constant motion, orbiting the center of the galaxy just like the Earth orbits the Sun. Astronomers call this normal movement proper motion. Stars move at varying rates, but due to the distances involved, it can take centuries for these changes in position to become apparent. However, S5HVS1, let's just call him Speedy. Well, Speedy is no ordinary star, and its movement isn't at all normal. This recently discovered star is racing toward the outer edge of the galaxy, having been ejected from its orbit at a velocity never before seen in recorded history. Astronomers classify this white-hot ball of plasma as an A-type main sequence star and have estimated it to be the size of the Sun. That alone wouldn't make it unusual, but it's very odd to find a star that size moving at such high speeds. Scientists call these astral speedsters or hypervelocity stars, and they tend to be either much larger or substantially smaller than Speedy. The latter aren't technically true stars at all. Known as neutron stars, these extremely dense, comparatively tiny balls of slowly cooling plasma are what's left over after a star completes its life cycle and goes supernova. And when I say small but dense, I mean it. These former stars are usually only about 12 or so miles in diameter, but contain more matter than the Sun. In those cases, you can probably guess how these cosmic leftovers find themselves hurled through space at breakneck speeds. When a star goes supernova, it doesn't always explode evenly. These lopsided detonations not only expel a few dozen suns worth of gas and plasma, but also hurl what remains of the star through the cosmos at almost half the speed of light. Considering humans have only been able to propel an object at a fraction of that, it looks like Mother Nature has us beat. But Speedy isn't a neutron star, so why is it getting expelled from the galaxy like a spare? And they tend to be either 2 times, never beating ball at them. Surprised called stellar streams, remnants of smaller galaxies, torn apart and absorbed into the much larger Milky Way. An astronomer by the name of Sergei Kopasov was going through some of the survey data when he came across some unusual readings. He was looking for stars with unusually rapid orbits, but was surprised to find one fleeing the galaxy at record speeds. Now, it's hard to tell by looking at them, but stars are in constant motion, orbiting the center of the galaxy just like the Earth orbits the Sun. Astronomers call this normal movement proper motion. Stars move at varying rates, but due to the distances involved, it can take centuries for these changes in position to become apparent. However, S5 HVS1, let's just call him Speedy. Well, Speedy is no ordinary star, and its movement isn't at all normal. This recently discovered star is racing toward the outer edge of our galaxy, having been ejected from its orbit at a velocity never before seen in recorded history. Astronomers classify this white-hot ball of plasma as an A-type main sequence star and have estimated it to be more than 2 times the size of the Sun. That alone wouldn't make it unusual, but it's very odd to find a star of that size moving at such high speeds. Scientists call these astral speedsters hypervelocity stars, and they tend to be either much larger or substantially smaller than Speedy. The latter aren't technically true stars at all. Known as neutron stars, these extremely dense but comparatively tiny balls of slowly cooling plasma are what's left over after a star completes its life cycle and goes supernova. And when I say small but dense, I mean it. These former stars are usually only about 12 or so miles in diameter, but contain more matter than the Sun. In those cases, you can probably guess how these cosmic leftovers find themselves hurled through space at breakneck speeds. When a star goes supernova, it doesn't always explode evenly. These lopsided detonations not only expel a few dozen suns worth of gas and plasma, but also hurl what remains of the star through the cosmos at almost half the speed of light. Considering humans have only been able to propel an object at a fraction of that, it looks like Mother Nature has us
Don't touch what you can't hold.